Tonight on Cronkite News, the Mercury hosted Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever at Footprint Center, where Clark even saw some support from Mercury fans.
Plus, the numbers are in. It turns out June was the hottest month on record here in Arizona. What we can expect in July.
Plus, a historic moment in what the U.S. Supreme Court is ruling for past, present, and future presidents. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Mark Radici-Moras.
And I'm Regan Gallo. Thank you for joining us.
The Supreme Court handed former President Donald Trump a victory Tuesday in the January 6th case.
The justices ruled he's entitled to some immunity from criminal prosecution, though he's not above the law. CNN's Paul Reed looks at just how much protection the decision gives Trump.
Presidents have to be given total immunity. They have to be allowed to do their job.
The Supreme Court partially siding with former President Donald Trump in his ongoing January 6th case, ruling that former presidents are entitled to some immunity from prosecution for official actions, but not for private conduct. In the 6-3 opinion, Chief Justice John Roberts, writing for the majority, at least with respect to the president's exercise of his core constitutional powers, this immunity must be absolute. The president enjoys no immunity for his unofficial acts, and not everything the president does is official. The president is not above the law. The High Court, though, leaving it up to lower courts to determine which actions are official and therefore immune. Roberts writing other allegations, such as those involving Trump's interactions with the vice president, state officials, and certain private parties, and his comments to the general public, present more difficult questions. Meaning District Court Judge Tanya Chutkan, who is overseeing Trump's January 6th case, will need to decide whether Trump's pressure campaign to get Vice President Pence.
If Mike Pence does the right thing, we win the election.
Georgia state officials.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
And others to overturn the 2020 election results were official acts. Trump celebrating the decision on social media, posting, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy." Justice Sonia Sotomayor dissenting from the majority opinion, writing, "The relationship between the president and the people he serves has shifted irrevocably. In every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law." Something she and other liberal justices warned about during oral arguments in April.
I'm trying to understand what the disincentive is from turning the Oval Office into, the seat of criminal activity in this country.
The decision today likely to hamstring Special Counsel Jack Smith's election subversion case,
charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding.
Roberts making clear in his majority opinion that Trump's discussions with Justice Department officials and his official conversations with the then vice president are immune. And in another blow for Smith, Roberts says Trump's official acts cannot be considered even as evidence at trial. A trial in this case, though, now highly unlikely before the November election.
The decision is another major victory for Trump in the past few days. He's still riding high from President Joe Biden's performance at last week's debate. Biden showing left many fellow Democrats calling for him to drop out of the election.
The group Arizona for Abortion Access says it has collected more than enough signatures to get its initiative on the November ballot. The Arizona Abortion Access Act is a constitutional amendment establishing the right to abortion in Arizona. The group says it's collected a record 383,000 signatures, and it will submit them to the Secretary of State's office later this week.
Meanwhile, the Republican National Committee has filed a motion over Arizona's laws requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. A federal district court had struck down the requirement while the case was sent up to the Ninth Circuit of Appeal. If the RNC's motion is approved, the law could be enforced in November's election.
The 4th of July is just days away, which means lots of people will be in a party mood. But Airbnb says it will enforce rules aimed at stopping partygoers who could disturb the neighbors. Reservations for a 1 or 2 night stay may be flagged across the United States. This is aimed at stopping people from booking a reservation just to hold a party. Airbnb implemented this rule last year. Airbnb says more than 2,000 people were stopped from booking homes over last summer's Memorial Day and 4th of July weekends.
And it will be a busy week at Sky Harbor because of the upcoming holiday, and many travelers could be heading to an international destination. That's because Sky Harbor just broke a record. 4.7 million passengers passed through the airport last month, the most for the month of May, and up nearly 13% from the same month last year. International travel may be behind the increase. Just about every airline offering international travel saw an increase last month, not to mention the brand new non-stop Air France flight to Paris, which helped boost those numbers. This year's summer is already one for the record books.
Carly Koskovich has all the details on the weather.
The National Weather Service is saying June was the hottest in Phoenix since they started keeping record back in 1895. The average temperature was 97 degrees and recorded 14 days at or above 110. The previous hottest year was in 2021 when we averaged about 95.3 degrees. And this year we beat it by almost 2 degrees. So what does that mean for July? Well, I'll have the full forecast coming up for you later in the show.
Coming up next, the summer heat isn't just brutal for humans, as dogs struggle too.
Many dogs at animal shelters have thick fur, and that doesn't help them stay cool in the hot summer heat.
Dogs like German Shepherds and Huskies struggle the most in the summertime. Animal shelters have many dogs of this breed, but the question is why?
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
The 4th of July weekend is coming up, and I'm definitely getting ready to celebrate. But Marco, it's your first 4th in the States, so what are you going to be doing?
Regan, I'll definitely be getting in the American spirit, but what better way to see fireworks in a place voted one of the best cities to be on the 4th? According to Wallet Hub's best places to celebrate 4th of July, our city of Phoenix was voted number 14. Phoenix was scored just behind Atlanta, but Phoenix trumped Atlanta based on our weather, viability, and affordability. The cities that scored top 5 are Los Angeles, New York City, Seattle, Las Vegas, and Minneapolis.
About a month ago, I went to the county animal shelter to adopt my own dog. I noticed many furry breeds, especially Huskies and German Shepherds, were up for adoption. We just experienced record highs for the month of June, and Arizona is anticipating another hot July. So I asked why and how these thick-coated dogs end up in a hot state like Arizona.
A dog is known to be man's best friend, but what happens when that man lives in Arizona? Shelters across the valley have seen an increase in furry breeds like German Shepherds and Huskies.
There is a theory that a lot of people saw Game of Thrones and they got excited about Huskies, and then people started getting Huskies. Some of them weren't spayed neutered, so then those Huskies had puppies, and now those puppies are having puppies, and so now there's just an abundance of Huskies around.
Many of the dogs end up at the shelters like Maricopa County Animal Care and Control, says Kim Powell. The dog's high energy is a big factor. Also, people's living or financial situations change.
And sometimes people surrender, not thinking like, hey, I can't handle this.
Powell says they have about 90 Huskies in their east and west shelters. 40 dogs a day come into the shelter. About 5 of those are always Huskies. And Joe Casado says the Arizona heat adds to the difficulty when it comes to the care.
Think, oh, they're a great hiking dog. Yeah, until it's 90 degrees, and then they're going to overheat really quickly.
But shelters want to home these dogs.
We don't want to limit anybody from being able to own what type of breed pet they want.
It's all about the right tools and mindset. Casado says plenty of water and treats frozen in ice cubes keeps dogs cool. If the pavement is too hot for the back of your hand, then it is too hot for your pup. He also recommends no hiking with your dog if it is over 90 degrees. And in Arizona, if you see a dog in a car by itself, you can call 911.
Our Huskies here in Arizona, they don't necessarily feel FOMO. They don't know that they're missing out on sled dog racing.
Maricopa County Animal Care and Control is working on transporting these furry breeds to cooler climates, but shelters across the country are full. However, there is one upside.
Their coat acts like an insulation and it keeps them warm during the cold months, but actually the same thing goes for the heat too. It can act as an air conditioner for them.
Another resource Maricopa County is offering is dog-friendly heat relief centers. They offer a cool place to rest and they also give out dog supplies.
Well, it's certainly going to be very hot this week. Perfect for a dip in the pool on the 4th of July.
Carly Koskovich joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect for this week.
All right, it's going to be a very warm evening tonight, but as you can see, there's going to be some slight cloud coverage. So the combination of the heat and the humidity might even bring us a chance of showers around 9-10 p.m. tonight. But going into tomorrow, the lows are going to be still very warm in the valley at 91 degrees, even down to 84 in Ajo. So if you're planning on going anywhere for the 4th of July, I would head up tomorrow. It's going to be a lot cooler up north. And as for the highs for tomorrow, take a look at that purple. The purple is going to indicate it is so hot in the southern west side of the state. So like I said, if you can head up north, tomorrow's the day to do it. As for the heat index, so Thursday, which is going to be the 4th of July, is going to feel like 108 degrees. Keep in mind, it's actually going to be 113 going into this weekend, but this is going to be dangerous. So if you're outside, you got to drink water, put some sunscreen on, and just take care of yourself to have a good weekend. So like I said, going into this weekend, that 4th of July is going to be 113 with a low of 88, but that's just the start of a very hot weekend. Friday and Saturday are going to be at 115, heading into Monday with a spike at 116. So from the Cronkite Weather Center, please just stay safe and have a great holiday. I'm Carly Koskovich.
It may be hot and dry here, but that's not the case in Barbados, where a Category 4 hurricane made landfall in Grenada on Monday. Hurricane Beryl made landfall just before noon on an island off Grenada's coast, bringing strong winds and heavy rains. Max winds topped out at 150 miles per hour. This is the strongest hurricane on record in the area. Coming up after a quick break, heartbreak on the hardwood as the Mercury narrowly lose to the Fever and Caitlin Clark.
But the bad news doesn't end there because Coyote fans had to watch the first NHL draft without their Coyotes for the first time in decades. So what does the future hold for hockey here in Arizona? A closer look when we return.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut. Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
Welcome back. I'm Jack Bartlett with your Cronkite Sports Report. Caitlin Clark swept through town as fans swarmed to the Footprint Center to watch the matchup between Clark's Indiana Fever and the Mercury. Cronkite News reporter Iman Abraham has more on the Clark Frenzy.
Sunday's game between the Mercury and Indiana Fever has been named the matchup between the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, versus the Rook, Caitlin Clark, as the 42 and 22-year-old share the court for the first time.
It was like she was one of the first that I really knew about and supported and, idolized and wanted to be like. And, I just admired the way she played the game and the fire that she played with. And
the stadium was buzzing as the game had roughly 17,000 fans, making it completely sold out. While the game was intense with a minor scuffle resulting in 4 technical fouls, none of it involved Clark. In fact, there was no tension between Clark and DT as they both shared smiles on the court.
Yeah, it's amazing. What Caitlin's been able to do in her short career so far has just been nothing short of remarkable. And the one thing that I really love about her, she loves the game. You can tell she's put the work in.
The Fever won 88-82 against the Mercury. Clark delivered a near triple-double with 15 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds, which the crowd appreciated, giving Clark a standing ovation as she walked off the court after the game.
It's basketball as a whole, but especially the W. So if you're not supporting the full W, then, man, you're missing out on some really great basketball.
The impact that Clark and Taurasi have on basketball is bringing in fans from all over. As the game continues to grow, so do these players, as they continue to support and uplift each other. In Phoenix, Iman Abraham, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix Mercury will be playing again at home tonight as they take on one of the best teams in the league and the Connecticut Sun. Now, Caitlin Clark, the basketball player, may have left town, but there's another Caitlin that's here to stay. That's because this Caitlin is a city planner for Scottsdale with the same exact name, but not quite the athletic prowess of the Fever player. And earlier this year, in collaboration with the two Caitlin Clarks, Xfinity produced a funny commercial highlighting their basketball abilities. While her friends and colleagues jokingly started calling her the other Caitlin, the Scottsdale resident says she has become a big fan of the basketball phenom and advocate for equality in women's sports.
It's a very difficult but exciting position that she's in, right? I'm sure that's a mix of emotions, but I don't know. It's definitely just opened my eyes and something that I want to continue to watch and pay attention to and continue that discussion that women have value in sports and they should be celebrated just as much as men, if not more. I don't know.
It was a tough weekend for hockey fans in the Valley who had to watch the 2024 NHL draft without the Coyotes in it for the first time in nearly 30 years. Still, the show must go on, including for the newly branded Utah Hockey Club. Cronkite News reporter Joseph Furtado was in Las Vegas to get a closer look at the draft.
The NHL draft kicked off in lively Las Vegas, promising an exciting weekend for hockey fans filled with player selections, trades, and fans getting to witness the first pick in history for the Utah Hockey Club. However, one fan base was left wondering if their state would ever see the return of hockey again.
The NHL loves the market. It's just the same issues that they've dealt with in the past. Look, there's a lot of bad history here with the Coyotes, and that's weighing into how they view the market right now. They know what the issues are now. They tried multiple times to solve them, and they couldn't. So, again, until they can solve those, they won't be back.
The Sphere hosted the NHL draft for the first time in history. Over the course of 2 thrilling days, the event captivated fans with a spectacular show in front of a sold-out crowd. 225 players were selected through 7 rounds as eager fans gathered to witness the next generation of NHL talent don their new jerseys, an experience unlike any other.
This is just a really, really cool experience. It's cool to see all fans from Canada and around the world to come to one spot. It's been cool to see all the draft picks. They literally came in through general admission with us.
With the future of the Arizona Coyotes uncertain, fans watched as the newly rebranded Utah Hockey Club made their first selection in franchise history with the 6th overall pick.
I guess the only hockey in the desert right now is you have to go to Coachella Valley and root for the Firebirds, I guess.
In Las Vegas, Joseph Hurtado, Cronkite Sports.
One familiar face was at the draft as former Coyotes general manager Bill Armstrong is now the GM for the new Utah Hockey Club. Armstrong, along with owner Ryan Smith, were on hand for the milestone moment in which Utah got the 6th overall pick.
2024 draft, Utah selects Tej Iginla.
The team picked Tej Iginla from Canada. The 17-year-old forward hails from the Western Hockey League and is the son of former NHL great Jarome Iginla, who's also a Hall of Famer. So the young Iginla has some big shoes to fill and will help to build this new franchise in Salt Lake City.
So important. I mean, him, obviously, you know, the things that he knows, and he's gone through things like this, and him, but my family as well. You know, my mom and my brother and sister, grandparents, they've been so important to me, and I'm so grateful to have them.
That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Jack Bartlett. Now back to Marco and Regan.
Coming up next, the refreshing summer cocktail is getting its big break.
Summer means cooling down with a drink, and this cocktail is being voted as #1 in the United States. So what drink is it? Well, here's a hint. It's a summer drink from Italy. Find out what it is next.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
This is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to see
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Welcome back. There's a brand new Gerber baby for 2024.
And this year's baby comes from right here in Arizona. Meet the cute baby named Sunny, who is the new Gerber Babies brand. Sunny's parents describe him as having a joyful personality, a bright smile, and a sunny disposition. According to Gerber, Sunny loves his toy cars, his squishy ABC book, and playing with his toy pots and pans. Gerber also said that his favorite family outing is visiting the local kid-friendly Phoenix museums.
And the home of movie legend Marilyn Monroe will be preserved as a historical and cultural monument. The move comes after a unanimous vote by the Los Angeles City Council, saving it from being demolished. The home is in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles, and it is where Monroe died in 1962.
And a doctor in Texas is seeing his patients as a hologram. Patients still have to go to the hospital to see him, but instead of his office, the doctor talks in what is called a hollow box, basically a life-size 3D projection of the doctor. It is the first of its type in the U.S. According to a study by Coffeeness, the country's favorite cocktail is the Aperol Spritz.
Researchers say Americans tend to prefer cocktails with a zesty, sweet or spicy taste rather than cocktails that are more creamy. Maybe that's why.
But here's a fun fact. Aperol is from Italy, but no one knows the specific ingredients that make it have that distinct citrusy bitter taste. According to Aperol.com, the recipe is highly confidential and has remained so since it was created.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Marco Radici Moras.
And I'm Regan Gallo. Thank you so much for joining us.